You know, it's funny. Sometimes the most incredible stories are hidden right there in plain sight. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to dive into this entire world. I'm talking struggle, purpose, survival, and it's all packed into just one single, simple sentence.
Okay, here it is. This is our entire source for today. We noticed during the summer period, bees search for the nearest water source. Now, I know what you might be thinking. It sounds pretty straightforward, right? Almost boring. But trust me, inside these 12 little words, there's a whole drama playing out. We've got a hero, a villain, a life or death quest, and it even tells us something about how we see the world around us.
So how in the world do we get all of that from this one sentence? Well, we're going to break it down. We're going to become detectives piece by piece and look at each part for clues. Let's start right at the beginning.
Okay, first up, we notice. Isn't it interesting that the story doesn't even start with the bee? It starts with us, with someone actually taking a moment to observe what's going on. It's such a powerful idea, right? That all science, all understanding really, just begins with the simple act of paying attention. Somebody stopped, they looked, and they saw something that mattered.
All right, next we get the setting, during the summer period. And this isn't just a throwaway detail. This is everything. This sets the stage for the whole drama. We're talking oppressive heat, things are scarce, it's a difficult time. Summer, in our little story here, is basically the villain.
And then we get the action. Bees search. Now think about that word. It doesn't say they find water or fly to it. They search. That word is so loaded. It tells you this is a deliberate effort, right? It's a mission. It's not random. It's driven by this incredibly powerful, urgent need. And finally, what's the goal of this mission? For the nearest water source. This is the treasure at the end of the quest. And that little word, nearest, that's so important. It tells you there's a strategy here. This is all about efficiency. It's not just about finding any old water, it's about finding it in a way that saves every last drop of precious energy and time.
Okay, so we've basically mapped out the whole sentence. Now, let's zoom in and meet our main character. Who exactly is this little creature at the heart of this epic story?
In this story, the bee is absolutely the protagonist, the hero. And we're not just talking about some random insect buzzing around. No, this bee is a forager, a provider, basically an agent of survival for its entire colony. Think about that. This one little bee has the weight of thousands, literally thousands of others on its tiny wings. This search, it's not for itself. It's for everyone waiting back at the hive.
So what's the big deal? Why is this search so critical? Well, for a hive, water it's everything. Yeah, they drink it, sure. They also use it to mix with honey to create food for the larvae. But here's the real kicker. They use it as the hive's air conditioning system. They'll actually spread little droplets of it around and then fan their wings like crazy to cool the entire hive down through evaporation. How amazing is that?
So if the bee is our hero, well, every good story needs a villain, right? An opposing force. And in this story, that force is summer itself.
And this really lays out the core conflict perfectly. On one side, you've got summer doing its thing, cranking up the heat, drying up all the puddles and streams. And on the other side, you've got what the bee colony desperately needs, a cool, stable home with a constant supply of water. It is a total clash between what the environment is dishing out and what the hive needs just to survive.
And believe me, the stakes could not be higher. A beehive has to maintain a super precise internal temperature, right around 35 degrees Celsius, that's about 95 Fahrenheit. Why? To keep the baby bees, the brood, alive. If it gets just a little too hot, the entire next generation, gone. So that little forager bee out there searching for water, it's not just thirsty, it's literally bringing back the one tool they have to fight off the deadly summer heat.
So, okay, we have our hero. We have the challenge it's up against. Now let's really look at how that simple little word, search, is actually a full-blown hero's quest.
I mean, think about what's packed into that one verb, search. It's a whole journey. Step 1 is the call to action. The hive sends out a signal like, "We need water, now!" Then you've got the departure, where one brave forager leaves the safety of the colony. Then comes the dangerous journey itself, flying through the world, dodging predators. And finally, the discovery, locating that precious life-saving water. And let's come back to that one crucial detail again, the nearest. Why is that so important? Why not just any water source? Because every single second that bee is away from the hive, it's burning through fuel and it's in danger. Survival is all about efficiency.
That bee's brain is like a tiny, super powerful computer constantly calculating the absolute best route to get what it needs. It is pure, unadulterated survival strategy.
All right, so we've taken one sentence apart and found this entire hidden world inside of it. But so what? Why does any of this matter? Why should we care enough to look this closely at something so small?
But what this whole thing shows us is that just by noticing something simple, you can uncover a really complex drama. It makes you see the bee differently, right? Not just as a bug, but as this amazing symbol of resilience and working for the greater good. It's a great reminder that nature is this constant, beautiful balancing act. But maybe the most important thing is that it shows us that our awareness, our attention, that's the key. That's what connects us to all these incredible, hidden stories that are playing out all around us all the time.
We started this whole thing with just 12 words. And just by deciding to pay attention, we followed them down the rabbit hole into an entire world. A world where this tiny little creature goes on a huge heroic quest against nature itself, all to save its family.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. The world is just filled with these little sentences, these quiet moments, just waiting for someone to notice and unpack them. So the next time you're outside and you see a bee, maybe by a puddle or a flower, what story are you going to see? What will you see it searching for?